Hello and congratulations on getting access to this video course on Facebook retargeting. Okay, so this is video number 1, which is the introduction and getting started. So before we get started, I want to give you a quick overview of what's inside this video course so you know exactly what to expect. So obviously this is video number 1. Video number 2 is going to be a visual map of Facebook retargeting. And what that includes is I'm going to show you how Facebook retargeting works. And a lot of times people jump straight into showing you how to set things up. But unless you really understand how everything fits together, what connects to what, and all of that, it's really going to become confusing. Because if you set things up like an email opt-in retargeting campaign or a blog post campaign, or a purchase retargeting campaign, every one of those is different. So once I show you the basics via a visual map, that's when we show you some real life examples in video number 3. Of course, in video number 4, I'm going to talk about the Facebook pixel, what it is, why it's important, and how it's used. And of course, from that point, we'll move to video number 5 and talk about how to add the pixel to your website, whether you're using WordPress, ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, or any other landing page builder. Video number 6 will talk about pixel variables and settings, otherwise known as standard events, such as how do you tell Facebook that somebody has landed on your page, somebody has converted into a lead, somebody has added the product to their shopping cart. Maybe you want to find people who have added things to the cart but have not yet purchased so that you can show an ad to them, remind them that they are interested in that purchase, and perhaps give them some sort of discount as well. Video number 7, we're going to talk about custom audiences, which are essentially lists or segments of people that you have targeted. And when you create your Facebook ad, you can then target that specific custom audience and show that specific ad to that audience. And then of course, in video number 8, we'll have some practical application and show you how to create these custom audiences. And of course, last but not least, video number 9, we'll talk about retargeting campaign setup. All right, so let's talk about mindset, because I'm a big believer of having the right mindset before you get started. I want you to realize that you're not going to make a sale. You're not going to get leads right away just by setting up a Facebook retargeting campaign. Converting visitors really does take time. And to be realistic, sometimes 12 to 17 times of touch points, meaning you have to get in front of them 12 to 17 times before they will buy. So I want to make sure that you don't expect an immediate action or an immediate sale. Now, to get started, you're going to need these things. You're going to need to have a Facebook ad account. And in doing so, you'll also need to have a Facebook business account. And you can go to business.facebook.com to get access to a Facebook business account. Now, having a business account is separate from the Facebook ad account. You'll obviously need money for ads, realistically at least $500 or more. This is not free by any means, but it's a great way to test things and find results right away. You'll also need to have an idea of how you are selling your product or service in terms of your website, in terms of your funnel landing page setup, meaning how many pages do you have in your funnel? Do you have 3? Do you have 4? Do you have 5? How many? So you want to have an idea of that before you get started, because it'll start to make sense once I show you around. And of course, you'll need to have some sort of mind map or flowchart software. And the reason for that is it will help you be able to map things out, map your own plan of attack out, so that you will be able to successfully implement everything that we're teaching you. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 2. And in this specific video, we're going to show you a bird's eye view of how Facebook retargeting works. So you may have a general idea of how Facebook retargeting works, but my goal here is to kind of give you a visual mind map of how all the pieces connect together. Because if I jump in and start showing you to do this, to do that, and I don't explain what things are and why things are important, I know that you will get confused, and I don't want to overwhelm you, so that's the goal here. So let's dive in. Obviously, this is going to be the visitor, and the visitor comes to a website, a landing page, whatever page that you want. Let's say that it is a blog post, and it could be a specific blog post. It doesn't matter. So they visit this blog post, and on the blog post, in order for us to know that they visited the blog post, there's going to need to be a piece of code. And that piece of code is called a Facebook pixel. Now, I'm not going to talk about that right now, but all you need to know is that the Facebook pixel tracks them. I'm going to talk briefly about the Facebook pixel later on because it can get kind of technical. So all you need to know right now is a piece of code that tracks them. It lets us know that they have visited this particular blog post. Now, bear in mind that if you want to learn how to set things up with different scenarios, what do you do with an opt-in page? Or what do you do when you're trying to get somebody to fill out a form? Or what do you do when you're trying to sell a product? Well, I'm going to talk about different real-life examples in the next video. All right, so just keep that in mind. Let's just talk about the basics. Okay, so from this point, let's say it's a blog post, and maybe in this situation, what we want to do is whenever somebody visits this particular blog post, we want to create an audience specifically for this. All right, so whenever somebody visits here, they are going to have the Facebook pixel there, and then this visitor essentially will be added on this part to a custom audience. All right. And don't worry, we're going to explain all of this later on. Now, this custom audience is going to allow us to say, okay, anybody who visits this page is now added to this audience here. Now, why do you need an audience? Well, you need an audience because when it comes to trying to put ads up, so let's put this up. Let's do a Facebook ad. We have to find a way to show this ad to this audience. So obviously from the custom audience here in the Facebook ad here, directionally, we are going to show the Facebook ad to anyone who visited this blog post. So this is a very, very basic Facebook retargeting. So let me repeat this. Let's do a recap. A visitor comes to the blog post, and this piece of code is just happens to be on this blog post, which will allow us to know, okay, this person visited it and they're segmented into this audience, and therefore we then show them Facebook ads on Facebook to this custom audience. So that is a very, very basic scenario. Now, it can get a little bit more tedious if you add more things like email opt-ins or everything else like that. But I just want to start with the basics. We'll talk about more about real life examples in the next video. Now, what you will need to learn is the Facebook pixel, how to use it, how to set up different things like triggers, different ways to work with variables. And the Facebook pixel is just more than a piece of code. It can track when somebody visits a page. It can track when somebody buys a product. It can track when somebody opts in. So in other words, if you want to know if a conversion happened, then you will need the Facebook pixel again. So the Facebook pixel is essentially a piece of code that is on your whole website, and based upon where they land, where they convert, it is all recorded. So we'll talk more about that later on, but let's move on to the next video, and I'm going to give you some real life examples and real life scenarios. We're going to show you different mind maps for different scenarios so that you have an idea of kind of how things work. Welcome back. This is video number 3, and as promised, I am going to give you some real live examples of different scenarios so that whether you're trying to build a list, or whether you're trying to sell a product, or whether you're trying to just brand yourself, different scenarios call for different setups and different types of campaigns. So we talked about the blog post earlier, and that's fairly simple. But let's say, for example, that you want to build a list. How do you set things up? All right. What if they don't opt into the list? How are you going to retarget them to get them to sign up for the list? So what you really have to do is you have to get an idea of what you want to achieve. What action do you want? Do you want an email? Do you want a sale? Do you just want to brand yourself and expose people to your awesome content? And there are other different scenarios as well. How do you get somebody to fill out a form? So how about we cover those right now? So let's do opt-in list. So let me jot this down so we don't forget. So we're going to cover next. So we covered blog post. We're going to cover email opt-in, a sale, and perhaps a branding. Yeah, we actually, blog post is actually branding. So branding. Now you could go further and show them ads of other related content as well. You could do that. But the goal here is to try to keep things simple. All right. We don't want to get too complex because, believe it or not, Facebook ads can get very, very complex. Funnels can grow and be extensive as possible, but let's keep the things simple. So we got a sale. Well, let's do perhaps a form. So you have to think, what is the intention or the goal? So the goal with an email opt-in is to get an email address. The goal of a sale is to obviously get someone to spend money. So getting somebody to pay. So get someone to buy. And then with the form, you want somebody to fill out the form. Now you also have to think, okay, what happens when somebody completes the email? What then happens? How do you convert? And how do you track that conversion so you don't show a Facebook ad to somebody who has bought, right? So it's kind of an if, then, else. If this happens, then this happens. If this doesn't happen, then this happens, right? So let me explain. Let's do an email opt-in. All right, somebody comes to a landing page. So we'll call this the email capture page. And then, of course, there's going to be a Facebook pixel on this email captured page. Now, I'm going to remove these because it's going to get a little bit longer. And I'm going to delete this. I'm going to actually copy this back, but we're going to move this over here. So if they fill out the email, what is after that? All right. What is after that? So after that, depending on how things are set up, if you got it set up with double opt-in confirmation, which means they have to check their email address and click the link and all that, and it goes to that page, or they fill in the email and it immediately directs them to the next page. Whatever the page is, we'll say page 2. This could be where the freebie is located. And you're going to need to have another Facebook pixel on that page, right? So if you think about it, the Facebook pixel needs to be on this page. Now, the only reason why we would want to show a Facebook ad is if they came to the email capture page, but they did not give us their email, right? In other words, if they did not fulfill the action, then you need to show a Facebook ad. If they did fulfill the action, you don't need to show the Facebook ad, unless, of course, you're selling a product. But like I said, let's keep it simple. So from this point, they either give us the email and then they land on this page. And this Facebook pixel will need to, we'll call it a conversion, and it will need to let us know if it actually converted. Now, if they did not, so we'll put over here, did not give email. So this is if they gave us the email. If they did not give us the email, and that's why I put an arrow here. So these are scenario 1. So we could actually name this. Let's name this scenario 1. In scenario 2. And obviously scenario 2 doesn't have a page or anything. It's just merely they exited this specific page. If that's the case, we want to retarget them, right? So we are going to say, if they did not give us the email, then we're going to put them into a custom audience. So in certain respects, what it's going to do is if somebody visited this page, but they did not visit this page, then we put them in a custom audience. If they visited this page and this page, then we do not retarget them. Now, it's going to be a little bit more easier to understand when I visually show it to you. But I just want to give you a bird's eye view here. So at this point, they did not give us the email, so therefore we add them to custom audience, and then we show them a Facebook ad. Now we could add those who signed up into another custom audience as well. So let's say we want to build a list and then we want to retarget them with a lot of great content or a product, for example, that we sell within the email. So different scenarios will require different setups. So that's one setup. That's an email setup. So not only are you setting things up for if they fill out the email, but if they do not fill out the email. So the next thing we have is a sale. So you'll notice that it's actually very similar. If a visitor comes to a page, and this page can be the sales page, and of course we pixel them, and then they either buy or, so scenario, they buy, and that is a Facebook pixel conversion, or they do not buy, and then we add them to a custom audience and we show them a Facebook ad for the goal of trying to get them to buy. Maybe they're not ready to buy, right? So you could show a Facebook ad of free content that is related to the sales page. Because most likely if they visited the sales page, they're interested, they're just not sure, right? You could show them a Facebook ad to a coupon. So there are many different ways of doing this. So now you can kind of get an idea. It's very, very similar from the email to the sale. Any type of conversion, it's very, very similar. So now we have a form. So let's see here. We got sales page here. And let's do a form. So they come to the form, and our goal is to get them to fill out the form. So we got a Facebook pixel here as well. Of course, scenario 1, they fill out form, and then we have a Facebook pixel, and we're able to track that they did fill out the form. And scenario 2, they did not fill out form, so we want to retarget them with either really good content or something that speaks directly to them to try to get them to come back and fill out the form. And that can be the Facebook ad. So as you can see, anytime you have an action, it actually becomes very, very similar in the setup. So now that you have a better idea of the different real life scenarios and examples, let's move on to the next video and talk about the Facebook Pixel, what it is, why it's important, and where to get it.